Hey everyone! So today I was going to try to make a kind of lightweight plant pot for my big monstera. I think I mentioned it in last week's video, that coconut core stick video that I did, that I was working on a project and it wasn't going that well, so I was trying to figure out how to fix it. So today's video is me trying to fix that fail, I guess. Actually, it's right there in the back, you can see it. Obviously, I was able to salvage it, but yeah. So I thought that I would just kind of walk you guys through my initial plan and what I did when I realized that it wasn't going to pan out. So yeah. Today I'm going to show you guys how I salvaged a DIY plant pot and made it into basically another kind of plant pot. So let's get started. So I used cardboard, tape, lots of tape, plaster, vermiculite, a dust mask, and a bucket for mixing. To make a mold that would fit a roughly 14-inch diameter by 13-inch tall plant pot, I cut 6 pieces of cardboard to 9 1/4 inches to 8 inches, and I cut another 6 pieces to 9 1/4 inch to 7 inches. Then on those ones, on one of the long sides, from the midpoint, I measured out 3 1/2 inches both ways, and then cut from that point to the top corners, making this trapezoid shape. I made sure to cut these pieces so that the corrugation ran horizontally on the rectangle pieces and vertically on the trapezoid pieces. I thought that this would help keep the shape from bowing too much after it's been filled with plaster. Then I taped everything up. First, I taped the trapezoid pieces onto the rectangle pieces, and then I taped the rectangles together, and then finally taped the trapezoid sides together. I made sure that the side of the cardboard that will come in contact with the plaster was bare. I was concerned that the ink from the printed side would transfer, which ultimately didn't matter anyway because I sanded the thing, but you know. I placed the mold onto a spare piece of cardboard and traced the bottom, cut it out, and then taped that into place. I went through and taped up every seam to make it leak-proof. Well, leak-proof enough for plaster, and then I went back through and completely wrapped the whole thing in tape to hopefully keep it from bursting open from the weight of the plaster. I had a pot that I wanted to repot my monstera into, so I thought that that would be the perfect mold for the inside. Initially I was going to stick it in like this, but then I remembered that plaster of Paris can swell a little bit as it cures, which would make the inner pot section get smaller. So to make sure that the pot would fit, even if the plaster of Paris swelled a little bit, I covered the pot with a layer of cardboard. I just kind of cut the cardboard and taped it up to try to fit the shape of the pot. I wasn't too worried about making it look super nice because this part of the pot wouldn't be seen anyway. I stuck the cardboard mold into another box just in case the mold didn't hold, and then mixed up the plaster mix. I basically just did a 1-to-1 plaster to vermiculite, and then I added water until it was sort of like an oatmeal-like consistency. Vermiculite is a soil additive to help with water retention and it aerates soil. But it's also very lightweight, so using it as an additive for plaster helps you make more, but then keep it relatively light. So my plan was to make enough to completely fill the mold, but, well, I figured out soon enough that I grossly underestimated just how much that I would need to mix up. So I mixed up as much as I could and poured it into the mold. And, well, it was not enough, clearly. Regardless, I stuck the middle part of the mold in, weighed it down with some rocks, and taped it in place to keep it from drifting around. At this point, I was trying to decide if I wanted to try to mix up some more plaster the next day after getting more vermiculite, because supposedly you can get cured plaster to stick to new plaster if you wet the already cured and dried layer. I've never done it before, so I'm not sure how true that is or how well it would work, but yeah. After feeling how heavy this already felt, I decided to just scrap the original project and make this into a shorter, shallower planter. So I let it cure overnight, and then I proceeded to demold it. And sadly, this process destroys the mold, so once I decided to do this, there was no turning back. Part of me wishes that I stuck with the original plan and that I did the whole thing, because after this thing had been sitting for a few days drying out, once all the water weight was out of it, it wasn't too heavy. Oh well. Maybe I can revisit this later. Anyway, I let this thing sit for a few days until it was totally dried out, and then once it was dried, I sanded it to take down the corrugation from the mold. This kicks up a ton of dust, so you should definitely wear a dust mask. Then I sprayed the inside with some acrylic sealer. Initially, I didn't plan on sealing it because I was just going to stick the plastic pot inside of it, and the pot was basically just going to be decorative. Unfortunately, when I was trying to look for shorter pots that would fit into the now shallow planter, I couldn't really find any that would work too well. So I decided to just plant directly into it instead. I've seen some people make plaster planters and they don't bother to seal the inside where the soil and the plant goes, but I don't know, it just kind of felt like the right thing to do. If any of you have done this, then let me know. Was that a good call on my part or not? Should I have left it alone? Is it good that I sealed it? But yeah, once that was all dry, I just planted my plant in it. I decided to stick this nice spider plant that I got the other day. I thought that it fit perfectly. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm so glad I was able to do something with the pot and actually keep it in the realm of plants. I love the new plant that I got specifically for this. It was kind of nice to have an excuse to buy another plant. If you guys did like this video, then please leave a like, and if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. If you want to buy any of my art prints, then there'll be a link to my Society 6 and imprint down below. Thank you to my patrons for helping me produce this video. If you are interested in becoming a patron or learning about what Patreon is, I'll leave a link to mine right up here and you can go check it out. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next week.